Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, our goal is to drive motivation by closing the door on the comfort zone, to foster inspiration by showing you what's possible, and to create transformation by challenging those negative and unproductive mindsets. Don't forget, while you're here, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. All right, so it's that time of the year where we start thinking of all things the U.S., freedom, responsibility, and citizenship. But what are you doing to make a difference? Are you volunteering? Are you sharing your gift? Are you doing anything to help someone else other than yourself? Today, I want to introduce you to a phenomenal author of a great new book. We're going to let him tell us all about it. But right now, everybody, please say hello to Chip Webster. Hi, Mr. Chip. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to see you again.
So nice to see you, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Chip, you have written an amazing book, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, can you tell us a little about yourself and where you're located?
I'm located in St. Pete, Florida, and I'm do a lot of volunteer work in different organizations, and write books and write poetry.
And book and poetry. Yeah, we're going to get into that. So, Chip, go ahead. Tell us what the name of the book is that you've recently written.
It's Unity and Service, a pathway to responsible citizenship, and it's
Unity and Service, a pathway to responsible citizenship. There's so much in that. But before we jump into it, what made you decide to write this book at this time? Why was now the time for it?
well, the book's been in my head for a number of years, and my wife and I, when COVID came, she retired and I retired, and we bought an RV and did 5 loops of the U.S.
Wow.
and talked to a lot of people and got a lot of feel for what people are thinking about. There's a lot of concern. I heard everything from, everything's going to be okay if we just let it go, to
Mhm.
we're going to have a civil war and it's all going to fall apart. So
Right.
there's a wide range of feeling. And my thought was, let's talk about what does a responsible citizen look like?
Hmm.
What does volunteering and community involvement look like? And how does that break down barriers? And how does having required national service for 18-year-olds create the foundation for a healthy nation going forward? So
Hmm.
many people look at this like, well, I'm just passing through and I don't owe anybody anything. I mean, only two
Right.
thirds of people vote for president. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's unconscionable.
Mm-hmm.
And others vote just because Uncle Harry tells them who to vote for. They don't do their homework and find out actually
Sure.
Uncle Harry is getting paid, you know, to have you
Wow.
vote for this guy or whatever the conflict of interest is. And
Hmm.
so, talking about responsible citizenship, getting engaged, go to work for Habitat for Humanity, volunteer for service clubs, and just get out there and talk to people. We need each
Yeah.
other. Get out of your silo.
Hmm. That's so good. So many people are in their own silos. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this and watching, they're already shaking their heads up and down, going, I know, I know. But let me ask you, Chip, have you already always been in volunteer service? Have you done that? I mean, what gives you the right, if you will, to talk about
Thank you.
something like this right now?
Well, I've always tried to give back wherever I was. Even when I was a trainee in Waukegan, Illinois, I was a highway counselor,
Mm,
all the way through. Today I'm chairman of the board of Tampa Bay Watch, which is a phenomenal organization.
mm-hmm,
Union Service is a nonprofit, and then I'm also chair of an organization called Keepers of the Flame, which is a very small group of people from around the world who've been
mm-hmm.
doing Vistage sharing for over 10 years or longer. And we get
Wow.
together every year in Boulder, and it's a wonderful organization. But very diverse people,
Mm-hmm.
breaking down barriers, appreciating that people different than us aren't evil.
Wow. People different from us are not evil. Hmm. I think I'm going to get a t-shirt. Go ahead.
So, what else do you need to know about my background?
Yeah. I mean, not much. I mean, that in and of itself is so great. So, in your book, you talk a lot about being a responsible citizen and unity. Aren't they the same thing?
I think you can be involved with organizations, and that's certainly part of being a responsible citizen and
Hmm.
volunteering and helping others. But you also have to take the time to educate yourself on who is the best candidate,
Hmm.
who puts nation ahead of party,
Hmm.
who has said one thing and done another consistently.
Right.
How long have they been in office and have they taken us nowhere?
Hmm.
So, you do your homework, study.
Hmm.
I like to get news from different places. I listen to a
Right.
wide variety of news on the radio and TV,
Hmm.
and am part of a thing called All Sides, which is a great news email you can sign up for that
Hmm.
gives you the left, right, and center, and
Okay.
also will grade based on surveys of the participants.
Hmm.
Um, does this newspaper or television source lean left, right, or center?
Huh. Wow.
So it's like do your homework.
Do your homework. Yeah.
Democracy requires us getting engaged.
Hmm.
Democracy is a do-it-ourselves project.
I love that. A do-it-yourself project. Wow.
Ourselves.
Do it to
Us. We
ourselves.
do it to us.
And it is so true. And sometimes you can look around and wonder, what are we doing here? But now, what about the part, that volunteerism, that civic organization part? Where does that come in into all of this?
My experience is if you're involved in a civic organization, you're going to be involved with people that are different than you. It's going to get
Hmm.
you out of your echo chamber, out of your tribe, and give you a chance, A, to contribute. One of my
Hmm.
beliefs is that if you're working with a diverse group of people
Hmm.
on a project that is good for the community or good for the nation, that
Hmm.
starts to dissolve the differences. It starts to
So
eliminate
good.
the way we judge each other and
Hmm.
label each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just getting out, rubbing elbows with people who are citizens just like
Mhm.
you. We want 99% of the same things. The
True.
press tries to divide us,
Hmm.
politicians try to divide us. That's how they leverage us. And
Hmm. And we
stop.
got to become smarter than the average bear, huh?
That's right.
Doing the homework. And you say we can do that through volunteerism, do through civic organizations, through
Right,
doing the work together, not
right,
divided from each other. Now, one of the
right.
other things you said at the top of the show was this mandatory service. Go ahead and explain that because I'm sure folks are wondering, what are you talking about? Are we talking about having the draft come back? What's all that about, Chip?
If you look at 60 countries in the world have required military service.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for 1 year. You turn 18, graduate from high school, you serve 1 year,
Hmm.
working in national parks, building Habitat for Humanity houses, building houses for the homeless,
Hmm.
cleaning up parks. If you go around the country and look at a lot of the old national parks, they were
Hmm.
all created by the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was created by FDR during
Yeah.
the Depression.
Hmm.
And people who worked in those projects got to know each other. And when
Yeah.
World War II came, they were more prepared to work together. There's
Hmm.
some theory that one of the contributors to our success during World War II is many of the barriers had been broken down by the CCC and WPA projects.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to do is get people to understand they have sweat equity in this country.
Yeah.
We're not just passing through.
Hmm.
I think there was an Air Force general who said nobody ever washed a rent-a-car. I think a lot of people think they're renting this country. In fact, if you drive around like we did for the last 5 years, people just throw trash out the window. They don't care.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of have this theory, it's in the book, that there's three kinds of people. Those who don't care and will take everything and forget it,
Hmm.
and those who want to leave it better than they found it, and the others who are just kind of passing through, neither taking nor giving, but just passing through.
Wow.
And a democracy requires us all to want to leave it better than we found it
Sure.
and to help the next generations to succeed.
Yeah. That's so true. I think about it, especially so I live in a military community and everybody joining schools here, retirees. And so we are big on helping, doing, and serving. How do you help somebody who doesn't live in a military community or who's never seen anything other than this is what we do and we do it for my four and no more? How do you pull them out of the comfort zone to get involved with people that may not look like them or people that they've never come in contact with before? How do you help them?
Well, you have to have what I call the gotawanas. You have to understand at some level, I need to expand my world. At some level, I need to take responsibility for this country.
Mm,
Um, that's the reason I think that the 18-year-old should serve because you get done with that, you understand that.
yeah.
I think the military has done more than any other institution to break down racial barriers, religious barriers, and to get people to understand we're all part of this community together.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so having the courage to turn off the TV, the reruns of whatever program you're watching for the 10th time,
Right.
walk outside and go to Habitat for Humanity, go to the YMCA, go to the Salvation Army, just find places you can volunteer.
Right.
Um, they have programs like Paint Your Heart Out,
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay, where people will go and paint houses for people that need their houses painted and can't afford it.
Right.
Uh, we have these wonderful things at Tampa Bay Watch where you come and build oyster balls that we place along the shoreline. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, you're familiar with MacDill Air Force Base, I'm sure.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The eastern shoreline there, we've been restoring for about 20 years. And
Wow.
we, the volunteers build these oyster balls. We go to the Air Force Base and we install them.
Mm-hmm.
We install shell bags of oysters and we plant seagrass. That's all volunteer. So
Yeah.
you can find something that you're good at,
Mm-hmm.
that you want to do. Just
Mm-hmm.
you have to. In fact, you can go online and start looking for volunteer opportunities.
That's
Some
so
cities
true.
actually have a website that will tell you, here's volunteer opportunities
Mm-hmm.
and here's who it's aimed at. So
Yeah.
you can say, hey, I feel comfortable with helping put on a play, or I feel comfortable volunteering for the St. Pete Grand Prix parking, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to do, but
Whatever
it gets
floats
you
your boat,
out of
huh?
the house,
Yeah,
out of
get
your
out of the yeah, get out of your, like you said earlier, get out of your echo chamber, get out of your silo and
I,
get into the community where things are happening.
because we need each other.
And that is the bottom line. We need each other. Everybody's
Absolutely
got an amazing gift,
right.
but you know, if you don't get out there, you're going to miss out on an opportunity to get it. Let me ask you, Chip. So, when you and your wife were traversing, if you will, the country for the 5 years, is this where this idea came from? Like you said, hobnobbing, rubbing elbows with people. Did you see where it was working, and did you see places where it wasn't, or where it could be better?
Yes. The book I did has actually been in the back of my head for probably 20 years because I've
Yeah.
observed this degradation of our culture,
Mm-hmm.
the cancel culture, the um, divisiveness. Um, if it bleeds, it leads in the news. It's become
Wow.
worse. Truth has become a relative thing. There's a
True.
wonderful article in the Wall Street Journal this weekend on Saturday about who do you trust, which
Mm-hmm.
is the essence of all. Trust is the foundation for everything.
Sure.
So during the trip, I started writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had notes from before, and then going to different. If you cross a state line, in some cases,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're going to a new country. When you cross from,
Wow.
um, if you're going to, and you're in Utah and Nevada and California.
Mm-hmm.
Utah's pretty pristine. Nevada's a little less so, and then you go to California, where I'm from, and
Mm-hmm.
have been years. It's a mess.
Wow.
I didn't take a picture of it. I should have. There's this, the signs at the rest areas,
Mm-hmm.
um, say littering, $1,000 fine,
Yeah.
trash piled all around it.
Wow. Ugh.
Um, and that's culture.
Mm-hmm.
And culture
That's
starts at
culture.
the top, but it also is created by each one of us
Mm-hmm.
taking responsibility for our role in society.
Yeah. Chip, now it takes me back growing up, thinking about your childhood. What were you taught about culture about volunteerism, about community as you were growing up?
Well, I watched my dad and my mom. My mom was a Cub Scout den mother, and she was a
Mm-hmm.
campfire girl a mother.
Mm-hmm.
She volunteered at a church. My dad was, in Kiwanis and Rotary. He was
Mm-hmm.
in volunteering as a school principal. He was all the
Uh,
time working on projects with kids.
mm-hmm.
So that was the role model,
Yeah.
and so that it just kind of became who I am. But role model is important. And if
I
you're if
like
you're
that.
in a place where you have a role model that isn't getting you ahead,
Mm-hmm.
find find a
Woo!
mentor. We're just listening to Bo Jackson was being interviewed. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you remember Bo, great
Of
football
course,
coach.
I remember Bo Jackson.
And, and he was being interviewed about mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
He said, what do kids have to do to get mentored? And he said, the first thing you have to do is get off the couch and
Wow.
go ask. What a concept.
Imagine that, getting off the couch. I beg your pardon, sir. But so many of us, we don't look for mentors anymore because our culture has said, well, you know everything, and anything that's a problem is not your fault. Leave it to me. We'll take care of it. So, what
I'll
in
fix it
that
for you.
says, yeah, what in that says, go forth and do great things?
Nothing.
Absolutely.
Zero.
Yeah. And then we wonder
And
why we are where we are today.
I have a list I keep on my phone, and there's over 100 on it now,
Wow.
of people who opened the door for me at different times in my life. Starting as a
Wow.
third grader in Ventura when the window washer of our house
Hmm.
gave me his business cards, and I walked around the neighborhood handing out business cards. I learned how to
Wow.
do something. Um, when my working part-time in a Sears store in Waukegan, and the store manager took a liking to me, it was between my junior and senior year in
Hmm.
college, and he put me on the MBA training program for the rest of the summer at the headquarters.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
somebody reaching down and lifting up.
Yeah. But they
Um,
found you when you were doing something. This is my thing. You again, the getting off the couch concept. No one's going to find you sitting on your couch. You got to get up, get out, get busy, and people will see you. And I think it's so true when people say people love to help people who are helping themselves. Nobody is knocking on anyone's door to go, "Hi, I'm wondering, do you need some mentoring? Hi, I'm here to." No, you
Right.
help people who are out helping other people. I like that
What
so
is it?
much.
Not even God can steer a parked car.
That is so true. That is so good. So let me ask you, Chip, if people wanted to find out more about you, order your book, or at least work with you, finish the conversation, where's the best place for them to find you?
Well, it starts with going to my website, unityandservice.org. And there's things about me, there's things about being a responsible citizen. We created a video talking about the divisiveness of right now, and then a link to my book. And with your permission, I'll put this podcast on there
Of
so people can
course.
link.
All things share, share, share.
Right,
We
right.
love that. Don't worry, everybody. If you did not get his contact information, everything is going to be in the description below. But don't forget, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. And do what you can to help us grow. Share, share, share. Chip, my friend, before I let you go, we're going to play a quick game to get to know a little bit more about you. The game
Uh-oh.
is really simple. It's called This or That. I'm going to give you the choice of a couple of things, and you just tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready to play, sir?
I'm ready to play.
All right, let's
Game
do
on.
this. Slow down or speed up?
Where am I in the intersection?
So there's a caveat. I don't even know where to go with that.
Don't
Android.
run. I
Go
try not
ahead.
to run a red light.
Okay, there you go. So yellow is questionable. Okay, I
Go.
got it. Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Read the book or see the movie?
Both.
Oh, you're one of those. I do the same thing. I will read the book and still go see the movie. I don't know. I love it. All right. Water park or amusement park?
Water park.
Candlelight or moonlight?
Oh, Moonlight.
Oh, wow. It was the deep voice that all of a sudden got me. I was like, oh my, Lord Jesus. Okay. Planner or make it up as you go?
Yes.
You are so my people, Chip.
No, no plan ever survived the collision with reality. But you got to start out with a plan, and then you adapt as you go.
I am loving that. I'm going to play this back just so I can hear that part again. And finally, Chip, if you could do it all over again, I would blank.
Uh, Not go to college, become an entrepreneur. I learned
So
more working
much.
than I did going to school. I mean, I love teachers, they try hard, but most of them are just talking theory.
Wow.
And then you go out